technology, I would like to welcome you to this School of Humankind really rather special event. Uh, how to stay connected when you work alone. Uh, and it's rather special because it's a pretty interesting topic for us. And us, in this case, is Angela Jameson and me. Angela and I are the co-founders of School of Humankind, which means about a year ago, just under a year ago, we launched this little baby out into the world. And for the year and a half or so before that, we met regularly to talk about it, what it could be and how it might work and so on. And it's no exaggeration to say it's all a bit of a roller coaster when you try to put something out into the world. Uh, Angela and I have a phrase which is, do I need to talk you down off the ledge? Because there are days where you just go, I cannot stand this any longer. And when I'm feeling like that, Angela goes, okay, I'm going to talk you down off the ledge. And then there's days when Angela goes, I can't stand it. It's really annoying, all this work for no reason. And I talk her down off the ledge. Angela has now frozen. I hope that's only on Zoom, not in reality, because she's currently on the road from Saskatoon to Edmonton, if I remember rightly. Um, so we talk each other down off the ledge because when you're doing anything, when you're working for yourself, whether you're trying to build something big or you're just trying to do enough work to keep yourself going from day to day, it can get really lonely. Now, way back, 50 years back when most people worked uh, in the middle of, in companies and organizations, uh, you would chat to people around the water cooler. Remember that old phrase, what's the water cooler conversation? You'd chat to people in the canteen. You'd blow off steam. I can't believe that person said that. I'm really annoyed. And then you blow off steam and get back to work. Now, many, many, many of us work from home or work alone. And who do we do that with? What is our community? And add to that what feels like a second problem. Many of us work interacting online where we're trying to work out in this rapidly changing kind of climate of business and work and so on. We're trying to work out what we're meant to do. I mean, you learned how to use the internet 3 years ago, and then everyone's saying, oh, no, it's completely changed now. What worked 20 minutes ago doesn't work anymore. There's a whole new technology out now. And you're sitting there going, oh, for God's sake, I haven't just got on top of the last technology. And now you're telling me it's all changed again. And there's people jumping up and down saying, give me $5,000 and I'm going to teach you a strategy which is fail safe. And most of us at one point or another have gone, all right, I'll give you $5,000. And the strategy is not fail safe. It's actually completely bloody useless. Uh, and so you get cynical and you get jaded and you begin to go, am I the failure? And all we're trying to do is earn a living or follow our passion or put some good out into the world. We're just trying to play our part in the world. And, being self-employed or freelance or an entrepreneur, it's amazing. It's fantastic. I've been a self-employed person for 35 years now, apart from a small bit where I worked for a university for 8 years, but basically 35 years. It's great, but the reality is it's also really hard. And the hardest thing about it, I think, is the fact that we get isolated. Now, Angela and I have been chatting about this for a while, and we decided to hold this conversation today uh, because we think, we talk to other people, and other people say this matters to them, this resonates with them. So we want to explore a little bit what our solopreneur or entrepreneurial or self-employment journey is and what the importance of community and connectedness is. And I hope we'll be able to open that up a little bit to anyone else who wants to make an input, because what we're really interested in is conversation, finding out what we share, what's different. I don't know where you are, Gary, who's in the room. I don't know where you are, but I know Jenny's in the UK and Nikhil's down in India. And I'm in Ireland, and Angela is currently on the road between Saskatoon and Edmonton. Is that right? Yeah, beautiful. So we bring in different perspectives. And I want to say one more thing before I pass over to Angela, that here we are talking about working for yourself and some of the stresses for that. And look, Angela is currently in a car traveling from one city to another because, as well as being a published author and a keynote speaker and a coach and all of this stuff, Angela also is a mother, has a family, has responsibilities in her community. I'm just back in from a day in a primary school where I'm not allowed to speak English because it's an Irish immersion school. So I've been grunting at young children for the last 4 hours. Uh, it's been a lot of fun. Doesn't mean I'm not a self-employed businessman. I'm doing a self-employed project in a local primary school at the moment. Angela's dealing with some family, well, not dealing with, but honoring her family commitments right now, and so on, because we fit in our work around our lives. And one of the biggest things that seems really, untenable to me when you look at so much stuff that we're told online is somehow it's like, do your work and your life will be over there. No, I fit in my work around my life, and I fit in my life around my work because I'm a human. I have family. I have community. I have hobbies. I have pleasures. I go for walks. I look after my health and I work very, very hard. And we integrate them because we're human. And also something that Angela and I talk about a lot is, you know, how to be the 360-degree human business person or entrepreneur or self-employed person, whatever you want it. You don't give up one thing just because you're doing another thing. So enough of that as an introduction, a rather long introduction, which I extended partly because you disappeared for a moment or two, Angela, and I thought, oh, do you have dodgy signal? So I'm going to pass it over to you and say, let's start with Angela. Why don't you talk us through for a few minutes, or as long as you like, about your journey towards where you are now as whatever you call yourself, solopreneur, entrepreneur, self-employed, or whatever you want to call yourself.
I know. I don't even know what to call myself, but thank you, John, for covering up for my skipping out there for a second. Gotta love it. Yes, I am now in between Saskatoon and Edmonton, and hopefully the connection stays good. So my journey began very conventionally. I mean, look at me. I'm Asian. My parents wouldn't let me do anything crazy. So, I had to have a good profession. And disappointingly, I wasn't a doctor or a lawyer. I became an engineer. And that was, it enabled me to travel all over the world. And which I just love that, my oldest daughter my daughter was born in the Netherlands. My two boys were born in Brunei Darussalam in Southeast Asia. And that was all while I was being a petroleum engineer. So that career was just beautiful. What I didn't want was my kids to grow up as what they call third culture kids, expat kids. When they grow up overseas, they tend to not be able to identify with anything just because their experiences are so vast. So I thought I'm going to bring them back to Canada and be Canadian. So when we actually bought the acreage that I grew up on, I'm in the process of giving my kids roots. So when I came here, there's no oil and gas. So I thought, okay, I have to reinvent myself. I see that my connection's unstable, so I hope you can hear me. So when we came back, I decided to finally write the book that I wanted to, and also just try business. My mother is an entrepreneur, so she's been doing brick and mortar businesses in Saskatoon. And so I knew she had she's not afraid of risk. My father, on the other hand, was a university professor. So he was just like, stay with your company, don't leave. He was very risk averse. So they were on the opposite ends of the spectrum. So going into this solopreneurship and trying to figure out what I was going to do was a huge exploration in myself. And it was having to draw inspiration from what my mom's done, as opposed to staying in a pensioned job like my dad did for so many years. I think he ended up working for the university for 37 years or something. So, and then diving into this, meeting John, you're driven so much by passion. You're driven so much by trying to get, like my personal goal is to help busy professionals live a relaxed life so that they don't turn around and realize that, oh my God, my life is over. And what did I do? And who are my kids? And who am I? That happened when my father passed away. And it just made me realize, what the heck are we here for? So that was that exploration that led to the business that I'm doing today. But it's really alone. Like you are alone in your thoughts. You are alone in how you build a business. And like John, I have also invested in multi-thousands of dollars, trying to teach, trying to learn from others how to build a business. And just hold on a sec. Dino, can you? Sorry. I asked the teenagers to be quiet for 45 minutes. Um, so, but you still have to do it yourself. All of the
Mm.
steps that they teach you are still things you need to to do yourself. And a lot of that is mindset. A lot of that is putting yourself out there. The book I just published 2 days ago is about the digestive system. It's about pooping. So in a way, it's like life coaching around your digestive system. So it's called Using Number Two to Get to Number One. And a lot of that was like, my daughter said to me, do you want to be known as the poop lady? And it's just kind of like, yeah, you know what? I do. And I'm going to, but it's a lot of, I think that's what stopped me a lot of times, um, is knowing, like, I hope my mother-in-law is not watching, but she does not like discussion about anything. Like all of those words do not exist in her vocabulary. So part of me was like, I might be disappointing her. I might be putting this work into the world where she won't be able to actually look me in the eye and be happy for me. So there was a little bit of that. But when you have a community, like you see John and a lot of the other people that I see when we're trying to build our business, we have to be brave and we have to be courageous and we have to be us, unapologetically us. And my time with John and my time with other entrepreneurs gives me that courage and gives me that feeling of not being alone. And the nice thing about connecting with other entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, is that we understand. And it's not like we can even do it for each other, but I can see John create a website for his art. He did it in a weekend and he's putting himself out there. And that takes courage. So all of that connection to me really drives me forward to know that other people are being unapologetically themselves and showing their unique voice and spirit to the world proudly. And so I can too. So now I am the poop lady. And who knows where that'll lead because, the nice thing is, I'm getting some early book reviews back and, you know, people are connecting to it. And that's what made me connect to it is because everyone has a digestive system. You know what I'm talking about when I talk about you've ingested something that you need a toilet now, and then just telling a story through that lens, the reader can feel it, I think. And also, why has everyone had that issue? Like so many bugs in the world that we have those issues. But anyway, that is basically my story about entrepreneurship and now being away from my corporate career for now 16 years. I'm loving this life for the time flexibility and just the connection. I think that's a great thing that we've got through technology is that I can connect with all of you in your different places of the world. connect and we can exchange ideas. And that's the beautiful. John, what's your
Thank you.
story?
Well, you see, you said there's something in what you said there that I want to really pick up on because it actually, just as you said, it made me realize something really powerful, uh, which about the journey that I've been on and so on. My background is entirely different. I started off after I did my second degree, my postgraduate degree. I became an actor, uh, worked 30 something years as an actor, director, theatre trainer, dancer, physical theatre performer, improviser. Uh, Almost all of it. I worked at big institutions all around the world. Uh, the Central School in London, National Institute of Circus Arts in Australia, Shanghai Theatre Academy, uh, National School of Drama in India, and so on. You know, the big places, but all of my work was experimental work. I was always an experimenter. I've never mainstream, uh, and as such, also never financially stable. Uh, I was temperamentally uh, a freelancer, as I used to call myself. Temperamentally, I was a freelancer from the get-go, right from the start. Uh, I've never been keen on institutions. I'm skeptical about organizations. Uh, I can get very ratty about bureaucracies and so on. My temperament makes me somebody who wants, right from the beginning, has wanted to follow my own path. And something you said in that, in what you were saying, Angela, really resonates because my parents came from pretty tough working class backgrounds. And, you know, in my father's case, uh, he academically brilliant, in some ways, one of the leading physicists of his generation, uh, but worked as a teacher in a minor public school in or private school in the UK for the whole of his life. Uh, in many ways, massively underachieving his potential. My mother came from, extreme poverty. She wasn't even working class. She was pretty much from the subclass, the underclass, the people who move house every 3 months because they're so far behind in their rent that they disappear for, overnight. They do a flit and go to another part of town and hope they'll never be found. She left home at 14, almost unable to read or write. And both of them achieved, things that I look at with enormous respect. My father became a teacher, had a PhD in physics, became a teacher. Uh, my mother became a nurse. Precarious middle class existences. And I was taught from the beginning, keep your bloody head down. Do not rock the boat. Don't stick your head above the parapet. Don't let them know that you don't belong because I'll send you back to where you came from, which is the working class. So I was brought up as a middle class boy with a constant fear of not belonging. Now, I'm the youngest of three children, and I think my brother and my sister, in some ways, dealt with it harder. But for me, I went, okay, if I don't belong, I'm going to not belong. And that was temperamentally me. I'm an artist. I'm not going to not belong. But you can't not belong. There's very few of us who can genuinely not belong. So when Angela, you say, you writing your book might mean that your marriage family or your birth family might disapprove of you, and you need a different community to understand you, then absolutely, for me, the arts world, the weirds, the freaks and the weirdos around the world who I worked with for years, people like me who didn't fit in and whatever, they were the ones who understood me and who I understood in the way that my family with, particularly my parents with whom I ended up with a reasonable relationship. It wasn't always easy, but a reasonable relationship. They never understood me. Even when I finally got a job at a university, my mother's response was, "Oh, well, I suppose it might lead to something." Because they didn't get it. They did not get it in any way. and absolutely didn't get when I would get something like, oh, I'm working at National Institute of Circus Art, biggest circus training school in the world outside America, but I'm going to leave because it's not suiting me. She would go, "Are you mad? Are you mad? I hope that, you could have stayed there. It could have been something." So I needed a community where I was unconditionally accepted for who I am and for the choices I made. And a few years ago, having been freelance for 30 odd years, I pretty much stopped doing theatre work, not entirely, but pretty much stopped. I had a heart attack and I burnt out and I broke down. And then the pandemic wiped out the entire world theatre scene and all of the rest of it. So this last few years has been a refocusing and a rethinking. And I'm a writer now and I'm a painter now and I coach people and I mentor people and I'm a consultant and a speaker and all these things. I'm still making up all of this stuff. But now I need a new community of people who unconditionally accept me. So that when I go, I'm thinking that there's an area here that might be of growth or, of interest. There might be clients in this area or people who, would be interesting to connect with. And I say that to Angela. She doesn't go, "Are you mad?" Well, she does sometimes, but but she doesn't go, "You're stupid." She doesn't look at me like I'm just this vague mad thing wandering through her Zoom screen. She'll question me and she'll challenge me, but she is my community. The School of Humankind faculty are my community. There are others who I don't work with, but who are my community. They accept me for who I am. And that's the lifesaver. That we've got our birth family, we might have religious communities if we come from that. We have our geographical communities, we have our ethnic communities, sexuality, whoever you link with. But also, especially if you work alone, I think it is a lifesaver that you have people around you who go, "Yo, I hear you. Yeah, I did that. Didn't work for me either." Just before I came on this call, I'm part of a WhatsApp group for local visual artists and craftspeople around this part of Ireland. We sell at a market. We're all connected to a market that goes on once a month. And just a little thing came through. Somebody had said, "Oh, this market's going on. Does anyone know anything about it?" And someone else goes, "Oh, I did that last year. It wasn't really good." And someone else goes, "Oh, but the management's changed." So that's the point. I don't have to say to them, "Excuse me, I'm an artist and I would like to justify the fact that I go to markets," and have somebody go, "What, are you mad? You're never going to make money at markets." I don't need that crap. I need somebody who says, "I know what you do. I know who you are. I fully accept it. And let's have a conversation." Now, that for me is the lifesaver if you work alone. When I'm working with performers, mentoring or coaching performers, I say to them often, "Who's your gang?" Really, it's as simple as that. Who's your gang? Who are the people that you go to who are not trying to sell you something? They're not trying to force you to do things their way. They're not patronizing you. They're not saying, "I'm more successful than you." They're not saying, "Go get a decent job." They're your gang. They go, "Yo, okay, hi, how you doing today? Having a bad day? I'll pick you up. Having a great day? Let's go party." It's simple. Who's your gang? And that's my journey. It's been a journey towards finding my gang. Because without them, I don't think I could survive because there are days doing this work when, you've sent out 20 emails, not a single thing's come back, and the bank account's looking dodgy. It feels crap. I've got 2 degrees and 35 years experience and I haven't got any money. I'm a complete and utter failure. And then you talk to your gang and they say, "Nah, it happens, mate. Next month will be better." And that for me is the lifesaver.
You know what else has been a lifesaver, John? A little bit for me is like ChatGPT, which is I was using it a lot for brainstorming because it's got all this knowledge behind it that it can give me. But what I found with ChatGPT, it's so positive. It's like, I'll say, "I'm thinking of trying this," and it'll say, "Yes, that is amazing. Go for it. And this is how you should structure it." And blah, 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 blah. And even, when I take my critical eye to it, I'll go, "Yeah, but that doesn't quite make sense because what about this and this?" And they'll go, "Oh, you're right to question that. Very good." Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you're just always going to be a yes, aren't you? And sometimes you need someone to say, "I don't think so. Like that's not great." Or "Have you thought of this?" Instead of chat just, I mean, it's great when you're feeling down,
Yeah.
but when you really want someone to be a critical brain or tell you some risks, maybe that they've experienced themselves,
Mm.
chat is not it. It'll just blow sunshine up your backside
Well,
all day.
you know the chat's been actually they're having to rewrite the algorithm because it's getting into trouble for doing that.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
because people go, I'm feeling really depressed and I'm thinking of it taking coming off my medications, and chat's going, that's a great idea. You know, Uh, yeah, I think that's wonderful. Why don't you? I'm feeling really bad about myself. Yeah, so you should. You're awful. Um, it's so damn cheerful. So and you make it. It's actually a really important point because a community is not a group of yes men or yes women. It's a place of unconditional support, but not uncritical support.
It's also about lived experience.
Yeah.
Everyone that comes to the table has experienced something that you can either
Mm,
take or leave. You know, a lot of people have tried something that some other person has tried. One person has succeeded, one person has failed.
mm,
So just to hear the different circumstances doesn't mean that that thing is not right for you, but you're
mm.
going in there more informed and not.
Yeah, and a inverted commas community which is actually run by an entrepreneur who's trying to sell you something. So that sort of community, come and join my business community where I will tell you how to run a business. That's about hierarchy. That's about someone saying, I have the knowledge and you're part of my community because you need my knowledge. And there's always space for that. But that's not for me, community. Community is where I go, I did this and this was the result. And you say, I did this and this was the result. And the third person goes, I think actually Angela's way of working will be better for me. Not that John's way of working is wrong, but Angela's work, because that person will align more with you or someone else will align more with me. And then somebody else will say something and we'll both go, oh, that's really interesting. And they'll challenge and they'll criticize. As you know, I'm really interested in the way that ensemble in performance, which was my real specialism over 30 years, the metaphors and the ways people talk about ensemble uh, reflect into how we build communities and how we build companies and organize companies and organizations and so on. And one of the metaphors is from a Italian director called Giorgio Strehler, who said, I think of ensemble like a family. So far, so good. I think of ensemble like a family. But you don't necessarily like all your family. Some of your family are a pain in the ass. Some of them really annoy you, but they're family. So you accept them. Italian, the whole Italian family thing, they're Italian, you accept them.
Maybe that's why the mafia started.
Well, yeah, my family, I will support my family, right or wrong. And so in a community, you get this thing. I think a functioning community, you get the thing where people go, you do not have to justify yourself in any way, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with everything you say. It doesn't mean I'm going to go, yeah, what a great idea. I'm going to go, yeah, I'm not sure about that. And we'll have the conversation. And I might not agree with you. I might not even like you, but I accept you unconditionally because we are community. And I think community is a tough place. It's not a feel good place. It's a tough place because it also, if you want a place which is going to be unconditionally accepting of you, it requires of you that you are unconditionally accepting of others. And sometimes you're going to go, I want you to be unconditionally accepting of me, but I really can't stand the way you talk. So and then you're no longer part of the community. You've ethically separated yourself from the community. So the connectedness that we need makes demands on us, demands of generosity, demands of openness, of curiosity, of being willing to support others when they're going through, you pay a price to be part of community. What you get back, of course, is exponentially greater. Well, I would actually say what you get back is what enables you to function as a human. I don't think we function unless we have intersecting networks of places where we belong. A family where you belong, love where you belong, uh, business where you belong, spiritual communities or health communities, whatever it is where you belong. They're intersecting networks of connection.
Yes.
Th-
You always go through all these big things and I just say, yes.
Yeah, I know. I have a habit of spiraling out, and you unconditionally accept me. Although I sometimes see that look in your eyes that goes, "Oh yeah, he's off again." And you're always right. I am off again. So there we go. I'm interested. There's a couple of people in the room with us. Absolutely no obligation on you to do so, but do you have a story here, either of your working alone or of the power of your connectedness or the importance or your need for connectedness or Angela and I can talk all day, as we know, or at least until she gets to Edmonton. But
Or I
anyone
know
else?
off so that he'll go forever.
So, anyone else have a thought or a story or an input that they want to make here?
Or a question.
Or a question, of course. I was just checking to see if anyone was commenting anything on the live, but I can't see where the live is. So,
Gary, speak to
Oh,
us.
hello.
hey, Gary.
Hello. Hello. For some reason, I thought I'd be one of maybe a, a lot more people, but this is lovely too. So, I mean, in terms of on the screen, um, I don't normally ask a lot of questions, but seeing as there's so few of us, maybe I thought I might. Um, well, it's just an observation, really. It's I guess the topic obviously resonated with me. That's why I'm here, and I've been self-employed for a number of years actually myself, and so uh, more recently I've been looking to branch out in my area. I'm a designer, and I've been looking at possibly moving from being self-employed to being employed, and which could be sort of maybe seen as going about it in a reverse way. Normally, I guess people would be employed and then perhaps self-employed, but I I haven't moved in that direction firmly yet. But I'm sort of looking at that. Simply as a way to perhaps generate some more income, um, have a little bit more certainty around that than I have for a little while now, really since COVID, I suppose. Um, and so I'm just exploring that scenario, perhaps moving from being self-employed to being employed. Not sure if it's the right thing for me. Around sort of family commitments and that both immediate family and extended family, whether it would be the right move or not. But anyway, I'm sort of rambling a bit now, so I won't.
Mm.
But it's lovely to see everyone here and to be. I'm in Dublin, by the way. I'm in Ireland also.
Oh,
So
fantastic. Other end of that. I hope you're having us. We're having the most glorious sunshine today. It's unbelievable again.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
I know it's almost too much at this stage, but yeah, no. So it's lovely here too, John. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from at the
What what
moment.
what's
But
what's the is there an urge beyond the financial stability, which I really understand. I do periodically go, I'd quite like to just have a job again. Is there
yeah,
an
I
urge
know.
beyond the financial stability that takes you away from self-employment, or is it pulling you away from self-employment?
Well, I guess it would move me into more of a kind of a commercial setting where I would perhaps have a chance to be. Well, I think it's really also a key thing for me would be perhaps being part of a team again.
Mm,
Working solo, as I think you said earlier, can be, I mean, it can be quite tough and quite lonely at times. I do have a good community of fellow designers that I'm involved with in an association. I've been involved for many years, so that's there. But at the same time, um, sort of day-to-day team camaraderie is something that is lacking because I work alone.
Yeah.
Um, so that's part of the reason, but also obviously potentially financial, um, a little bit more financial certainty, and I think just exploring uh, my horizons really. I guess I've been doing what I've been doing for a number of years, and I'm maybe slightly stuck in a rut to some extent. And I'm looking at sort of a new model, or trying to establish some kind of a new model or way of working
Yeah.
that. So I'm just exploring that really at the moment.
The word camaraderie is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That I I uh, I don't really do so much drama work anymore. I mean, partly because, I'm in a new country. I've only lived in Ireland for 3 years. I'm also in a very remote part of Ireland. I'm at the top of the Fanad Peninsula in the far north of Donegal. It doesn't get much more remote than this. Um, and so I don't really have connections. But earlier this year, I applied to become one of a small number of artists on a cross-border initiative for primary schools. So and I was, offered a place. So I'm teaching the primary school, local Gaeltacht primary school around here, and then next academic year, I'll go across the border somewhere near Derry and be teaching there. So it's a cross-border initiative and so on and so forth. Now, we did a training day, 2 days training down in Cookstown in Northern Ireland, and I had forgotten what it's like just to be in a room with loads of other people who you're not directly working with, but you got shared interest, and so and so going, oh yeah, I met so and so, and oh yeah, did you know so and so, and oh I did. It was a laugh. Even though I don't know any of these people, and frankly, I'm 20 years older than most of them. It was a laugh to be surrounded by people who you go, ah, you can just have a chat. And camaraderie is a really good word for that. I don't want to go back to working full time in that area, but boy, I miss it.
There's
Yeah.
huge advantages to that, just being able to, you're brought to one place with these other
Mm,
people that you can just shoot the breeze with. And
mm,
I wanted to address, Gary, feeling that a lot of entrepreneurs have, or people that step out on their own, going back to something established. It, you said, you don't know if it's the right thing to do. There's never a right thing to do. You just make a decision and you make it the right decision for you. And you really channel your energy to that way. There's so many disadvantages and advantages to both ways of doing things. So when you do make the decision, just put your heart into it and it's the right one. What I've found, especially people who are in corporate, and I hear this a lot, is like, I gotta go on my own because I don't want to work for the big man anymore. I want to work for myself. I want to set my hours and blah, 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 blah. But when you're out there, you've also got to find your own clients. You've also got to do the books. You've also got to, provide your own coffee. So there's a lot of things that come with working for yourself. And so sometimes when we think about going back, it might feel like a failure because you haven't been able to make it on your own. But it's just think about it as the company you're going to was once a person like you, and they built it up and they created the energy, and you are just joining the established energy stream. And so now you can really appreciate to your very core how much work that was. And it's inspiring when you think of every company that exists today that is financially viable, how much work goes into that. And so when you take that job, if you do, there's just, I think, having that experience as an entrepreneur, you can really appreciate where it came from. So it's not an evil, it's not a settling, it's like just joining a different stream. So I wish you well on that decision.
I also wish that you connect on LinkedIn because I'd like to see your design work. I always love seeing other people's work, so I'd love to see what
Mhm.
you're designing.
Thank you. Sorry, I was on mute there, so thank you for
Uh,
that. Yeah, that's lovely. Thanks, John. Yeah, that'd be great. I probably need to update my LinkedIn account, but uh,
or yeah, or just drop me an email or something. I'd love to see what you do, though. I'm always interested to see what people are doing. So I even occasionally get to Dublin, so very occasionally.
okay, yeah,
So
great. Small
um,
world.
well, Ireland is a small world, that's for sure. Not such a small world in Mumbai, is it, Nikhil?
No, I mean,
It's
it's
hot and crowded.
it's raining. It's raining. It's
Ah.
stormy. It's weird. And Mumbai is all ripped apart right now, which is so horrible. I mean, you travel in an auto rickshaw, and I've never experienced feeling so much dirt while coming back
Mm,
home.
mm.
It's everywhere, and yeah, it's horrible.
But
But
what's your experience right now? Because I know you're a self-employed performer. You sometimes work for other people and so on and so forth. I don't know whether you do other things for money as well, but I don't know that. But do you ever get the urge, like so many of the Indian performers I know, to go, I just want to get a corporate job, just go corporate, just settle down, get the money coming in. Do you get that urge?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that happens sometimes when I look at my friends doing okay money wise. It does get to me like oh, I wish I would have chosen that life.
Mm,
uh but ultimately what it does for me, it just gives me more respect for them, that how hard that is. And
mm.
I feel all the gratefulness for the freedom that I have. And uh, yeah, but it does for sure gets to me, that I wish it was not this difficult financially. Um,
What's the hardest part about not having a corporate job? I mean, if and leave aside the finance, 'cause I understand that, the struggle for money. Outside the struggle for money, what do you think the greatest area of struggle for you is in being a self-employed or freelance or whatever you want to call it?
um, just the continuous drive to do something. For example, if I'm picking up a project or something to work on, and at least this is the problem right now, to maintain the consistency, to do it, because nobody's checking in whether you have finished something or not. So and sometimes for some reason, for some occasion, something will happened, so you feel very strong and motivated about doing something, but then things fade, and then so does the drive to do it. So yeah, so I think the hardest part is, because if I was employed by somebody, I would have always a deadline probably to finish, or to someone to answer to.
I,
um
you've actually said something which I meant to say earlier. Absolutely. One of the other key things about working for yourself, which is a struggle for me, is we can use the word accountability or responsibility or whatever. Andrew and I talk every one Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock my time. And if I've said I'm going to do something, I have to make sure it's done by 4 o'clock the next Monday. Otherwise, I have to end up going, oh no, I forgot. So that accountability is brilliant because it's far too easy to say, yeah, yeah, I'll do that. And then, 2 weeks have passed and you haven't even thought about it. So, and a community again does that. It might be, oh, I have to do it. Or it might be the community saying, you didn't do that, did you? Come on. Not
yeah.
because you have to, but because you're bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
Do it instead of going, well, nobody gives a damn whether I do or not. And it's very easy to begin to believe that nothing you do makes is worth doing or is that makes a damn bit of difference if you're not somehow being immediately rewarded. by someone saying, okay, you finished your report, here's your money or whatever. So
Yeah.
that sense of accountability is, I think, thank you for mentioning it, because I think it's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that is, I think, the like I said, right now is the hardest part that I feel for being self-employed, is the keeping the ball rolling, really.
Mm,
That's the that's the struggle.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. It's really
So,
useful. Thank you, Nikhil.
thank you, Nick.
You're frozen there, Angela. Are you there?
Am I frozen? Am I still frozen?
No, but you're
Yeah,
very broken up. You're very
I'm
broken up,
still
and you're
here.
okay. So I think, oh, you're moving again. Do you want to just throw in there? Because I'm going to close this up in a moment. Are you there? Are you with us? Or has the signal died? I think our signal's died. So I'm going to wrap us up and close us up.
Uh,
This strange gurgling in the background, uh, which is a bit like a Dalek whose power source is dying. Are you back, Angela? Are you with us?
am I back? Am I back? I don't know. Am I?
Yes, sort of.
No?
Yes, you are. Yes, yes. Say
Okay,
something
just
wise
wrap it up.
for. Okay, I'll just wrap it up.
Okay, okay,
Um,
really fast. Uh, wrap
so
it up.
we're looking at we're talking a lot, Andrew and I, about this whole notion of community at the moment. Um, School of Humankind is a community. There's 12 or 14 of us on the faculty. Andrew and I are the co-founders, but we've got a whole range of people, artists and scientists and coaches and health experts, nurse and da 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 da. It's a really diverse group. We're community, and we're looking at how we can extend that because it's important. Um, we're not quite sure where that's going to go yet, but we'll also let you know and see whether or not that's something that you want to join in with and play with. Um, in the end, humans are designed to connect. And I'm somebody, I love my own company. I love being alone. I'm a very solitary person in a lot of ways. I'm very happy on my own. I'm a painter. I sit at my table and I paint pictures and I don't like anyone talking to me and so on. I can't survive unless I am also in community. And it's just, and it's not because I desperately need other people to validate me. It's because I'm human. And I think in the end, what we're talking about is that if you're an entrepreneur or you're self-employed or you're freelance, what you are also is a human, and humans need to have a gang. We need to belong somewhere. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you can um, find your gang, belong to your gang. Feel free to sign up with School of Humankind. Well, you are signed up because you came here, but connect with us, be part of our gang if you want to. We're generally fairly nice, most of us, most of the time. But for now, we do 2 free community events a week, sometimes meditation, sometimes practical sessions, sometimes workshops, sometimes conversations, 2 free events a week. Come along to something, say hello to us. And for those of us in the room, huge thanks for being here today and for making an input.